Are you a real estate professional in Minnesota? Well, you're in the right place. We are going to unlock the secrets to effortlessly renewing your license and staying compliant with state regulations. Keeping that active license is, well, the absolute baseline of your livelihood, right? And the state system has some very specific quirks you really need to master. So, welcome to this comprehensive explainer on smoothly navigating your Minnesota real estate license renewal.
You see, a missed deadline or a misunderstood requirement doesn't just mean a slap on the wrist here. No way. It can immediately halt your ability to practice. So definitely stick around, because mastering this process could literally save your career. Let's get into it. Here's our quick roadmap for today. Number 1, deadlines and renewal cycles. 2, continuing education requirements. 3, online renewal process steps. 4, fees, penalties, and FAQs. And finally, number 5, a quick touch on compliance and a legal disclaimer. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, deadlines and renewal cycles.
So, Minnesota real estate licenses operate on a 2-year licensing cycle. But, and this is a big but, treating it strictly as a 2-year process is going to get you into trouble. It's because of what regulatory experts call the operational gap. Basically, all active and inactive Minnesota real estate salesperson and broker licenses officially expire on June 30th. However, under state statutes, a renewal application is only legally considered timely submitted if all requirements are completed and submitted by June 15th of your renewal year. So in the real world, that means you should absolutely be verifying your credits by June 1st, targeting June 15th for your broker to actually hit submit, and treating June 30th as the absolute point of no return.
Moving right along to Section 2, continuing education requirements.
Okay, to actually hit that June 15th target, we have to look at exactly how you earn your credits. And the most crucial point here is the number 15. The state requires 30 hours of continuing education per 2-year cycle, but you absolutely cannot backload them all to the end. Minnesota dictates that 15 of those hours are due every single year by June 30th. Basically, the state is actively checking your progress every June, not just at the end of the 2-year cycle.
So, what goes into those 15 annual hours? Every single year, you have to include the current year's 3.75-hour state-required module. Then, over the course of the whole 2-year cycle, you also need at least 1 hour of fair housing and 1 hour of agency law. The remaining 9.25 hours each year? Those can just be made up of state-approved elective courses of your choice. It's like a puzzle, but once you know the pieces, it's pretty straightforward.
Now keep these critical rules in mind to make sure your hard work actually counts toward your compliance. First off, only take courses from providers approved by the Minnesota Department of Commerce. Second, please don't try to cram. The state strictly limits you to a maximum of 8 continuing education hours per day. Third, keep in mind that providers have up to 7 days to report your completion to the state system. And finally, CE hours absolutely do not carry over. If you take 20 hours one year, you are still on the hook for 15 hours the next year.
All right, Section 3, online renewal process steps.
Knowing the rules is great, but actually navigating the digital workflow in the Pulse portal is how you keep your license in hand. For most salespersons, your primary broker handles the heavy lifting, but you definitely have a role to play here. Step 1 is entirely on you. You've got to log into the Pulse portal and verify that your education providers have successfully posted your CE credits. Once your transcript is looking clear, Step 2 begins when your primary broker logs into the system with their specific credentials. Then, in Step 3, the broker executes a mass renewal for all eligible agents associated with their company before the deadline. Easy enough, right?
But I want to pause here for a second because it is vital to note this distinction if you happen to be a closing agent or a limited broker. Unlike salespersons who get to rely on their primary broker's mass renewal, closing agents and limited brokers are entirely responsible for independently renewing their own licenses via the Pulse portal. You have to literally log in, select Renew a Closing Agent or Limited Broker License, and submit your own application, your fees, and, if it applies to you, your trust account waiver forms. So don't wait on a broker if that's you.
Okay, let's talk numbers. When it comes to statutory electronic fees, you and your broker need to know exactly what to expect at checkout. And remember, Minnesota does not accept cash for this. The statutory base fee is $40 for a salesperson and $100 for a broker. But actually, that's not the final total. You also have a mandatory $20 contribution to the Real Estate Education Research and Recovery Fund, plus a $10 technology surcharge that basically funds the state's databases. The final amount shown at the checkout screen on the Pulse portal, that is the authoritative total you're going to need to pay.
Moving on to Section 4, Fees, Penalties, and FAQs.
Let's troubleshoot a bit and answer some rapid-fire questions, because, let's face it, life happens and deadlines sometimes get missed. The most common fear out there is missing the deadline, so let's clearly outline the stakes. What exactly happens if you miss Minnesota's June 30th deadline? Well, if the clock strikes midnight on July 1st and your renewal hasn't been submitted and approved,
The state's response is immediate. Your license is instantly placed on inactive status. This means you absolutely cannot legally practice real estate, represent clients, or earn commissions while you're inactive, period. To get back in good standing, you first have to complete any outstanding continuing education hours you missed. Then, your broker will have to actually reapply for you, and on top of the standard renewal fees, you'll be hit with a $50 reinstatement fee. Not fun.
Now, let's look at the absolute worst-case scenario just to really emphasize why proactive renewal matters so much. What if you leave the industry for a bit and your license remains lapsed for more than 2 years?
Well, this is the ultimate penalty. If you pass that 2-year expiration mark, there's no simple reinstatement process. You are essentially wiped from the board. You will be required to reapply as a brand new applicant. Yep, that means you have to completely retake and pass the Minnesota real estate examination all over again. So please, avoid this massive setback by treating that annual June 15th target as an absolute, unmovable professional boundary.
And finally, Section 5, Compliance and Legal Disclaimer. Let's wrap this up with some final protective guidelines to ensure your ongoing success and compliance in the industry. Always remember to independently verify current requirements directly with the Minnesota Department of Commerce. This explainer is strictly for educational purposes and, of course, does not constitute legal advice. State regulations, fee structures, and required CE modules can, and definitely do, evolve from year to year.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Are your 15 annual CE hours actually ready for the upcoming June deadline? Seriously, don't wait for your broker to remind you. Log into the Pulse portal today, check that transcript, and take control of your professional future. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and stay compliant out there.